Greetings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week on Theta Thursday. We have a very interesting show to talk about today. A lot has happened. Shit actually happened in EVE Online this past week. Isn't that amazing?
It is definitely a different week than last week where nothing happened. And that's why we didn't do anything last week.
Quite
Yeah, I got on
literally
some
nothing
dread kills.
happened.
You did?
I did. I got on a lot of dread kills this last week here.
Nice. Not faxes?
No, they dropped on a super in Delve, and I think I got on like 7 dread kills from it.
Did the super die?
Oh yeah.
Of course. It's usually how it goes.
It was no. It was actually a Titan. It was a Titan loss. It was in 1DQ. They dread bombed him.
Oh, that
right,
one.
that guy.
Okay. I was thinking of
Yeah.
something else.
Nah,
He died.
I actually got dropped on like a week ago, and the entire FC team is making fun of me for it because
As they should.
no. So I was shooting the inhib with my fighters, and I was telling, Beehive that, hey, the inhib is in structure. But I guess I didn't fully press in my push to talk key enough. So the only thing FC heard was in structure. And so Zinta just sitting there like, oh, you're in structure. You're going to die. Have fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm in like 90% armor. I'm good. Get here and kill these fucking people. It's great.
They just wanted you to die secretly.
You're not wrong.
That's not a secret.
That's not a secret.
That's not a secret.
That is not a secret.
Mifune's got a very polarizing personality. For being the nicest guy, I don't know why. It's just like, I think it's the face. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I still love Mifune, and I'll always stick for him.
DL White Knight. It's pubes. He glued them on specifically for this show.
Someday Mifune will be able to grow a full beard.
Yeah, as long as it's not a beard as long as Greg's, we'll be fine.
Hey, that's impressive though. I mean, that takes some serious commitment.
Hi, Grandma. Oh, so by the way, since we haven't done our introductions yet, obviously we have our returning regular guest, Ghoster. We have a friend of the show, guest Sabat, and then another guest of the show, Karama, who Sabat and I were on his show last night, which was a lot of fun. We didn't talk about anything important, but for 2 hours was a blast. I had a great time. And then obviously Mifune, tech man and host, and then me, your main host on Rhea. So this week, we talked about some of it last night, but we've had lore/mining additions and changes. We had a very big fight on the weekend, and and then as we go into the holiday season, I'm wondering if there's going to be any more big fights coming up. I don't know if they're going to try to go for that fort again or not. So where do you guys want to start?
I would say let's start with the fight, since that happened like right at the smack dab at the start of the weekend, which was really fun, I would say so. And for those who weren't there, basically there is a completely useless Fortizar, and I mean, it's got no strategic value whatsoever. It is an absolute bumfuck venal, right? It's got no value, no holdings, literally nothing to it. But for whatever reason, Fraternity really fucking wants this Fortizar dead.
Okay,
Hey.
to be fair though, the reason why it has no value is not because of its location, it's because it belongs to boss.
It's true too.
I mean, that's partly true, but you also gotta admit, man, it's in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in Venal. Right.
Just where we want it to be.
So what ended up happening was Fraternity and Pandemic Horde teamed up for the armor timer for this Fortizar a couple of weeks ago. They decided not to fight, ironically, because Gobbins made the mistake of thinking that the node was unreinforced because he never told CCP about it. He just assumed that Brave didn't say anything about it. And then in reality, Brave, Volta, and Boss all told CCP to reinforce the node, so it was reinforced. And Goblins just didn't know it was. And so he dipped out of the fight thinking like that this was going to be a fuckfest. And so this time around, they came at it again. They decided to say, you know what? Fuck it. Everybody in there. And so they just kind of went at it. And it was a really fun fucking slugfest. I would say that slugfest has probably been the best one since the war happened.
So to be fair, and to Gobbin's point, the attitude of if I don't do it, no one's going to do it is generally a good thing. You know, it helps, you know, people be self-starters. But like the actual thought that, oh, well, if I didn't do it, there's no other way that anyone in any of these possible alliances maybe could have done it.
Well, I mean, Gobbins is also like the spin and the hype around that armor timer was the cherry on top of the fucking cake, right? He's sitting here screeching. He had like 2 sodas and about 40 odd pings, and all of them said the same thing. You know, oh my god, they're claiming we're not really third partying, even though we are third partying. So let's get out there and show them what it's like when we actually put main fleet on the field. And the whole meme was like, oh, okay, so when you bring main fleet to the fight, you just stand down.
Yeah, because they're giant pussies.
Right? So like it was really funny the first time around. And then the second time around, I'm not gonna lie. So we were there, most of us here at the INN crew. We were pre-staging our cameramen. We were getting some of our commentators ready. We were like, this is going to be a really big fight. And I'm not going to lie because I'm not normally one to spin, right? But I thought for a hot fucking minute that we weren't going to show. I literally thought for the fattest of minutes that Imperium, Brave, and GTC were just going to let it go and let the Fortizar die.
You thought we weren't okay?
I thought no. As much as Ash showed us, it was cutting it close. It was cutting it so close.
Not a cock tease,
that
right?
that Sino went up. No, that Sino went up literally 3 minutes before the Fortizar came out of ref. It was damn fucking close.
No, not your. We were Ghoster, you weren't there on Saturday, were you?
Yeah, I showed up late. I brought a flycatcher fleet.
I was the only one. I was sitting on that fort for like 15, 20 minutes.
No, but that was
slow as. Just because your fleet was slow.
No,
as balls is not my fault.
Dawn, I was
there.
Dawn,
I was there in plenty of time.
I was there hanging out. I was there 45 minutes before the timer even came out of ref. The first Sino, which was the Init fleet, popped up exactly 3 minutes and 48 seconds before the Fortizar came out of ref. By the time
you were blind, because
no,
I was there in plenty of time.
By the time
we didn't even start the shooting the thing until like 20 minutes after.
I mean, I was 3 hours late to the fight, and I made it in time to watch the fort repair.
Well, no, the fort. No, all right. So anyway, so the fun thing about the fight, for those who weren't there, it's the VOD is still up. I would highly recommend you go watch it. I think
because once it's gone, it's gone. We don't ever say
I think it is an absolutely like glorious fucking thing that the entire Imperium and Brave force went straight for the fraternity caps. That was absolutely hilarious because we were sitting in the INN channel and we were like, well, you know, we can't really engage the Paladins or the sub-capital hack fleets right now because of the way that they're positioned. They have grid control. So, like, what's the play here? And then Asher started warping everybody towards the frat caps, and I was like, holy shit, this is going to be really fucking funny. So what ended up happening was that the sub-capital force on the Panda Fam side, they were off the Fortizar, they're shooting the Fortizar, whatever. They had Hictor bubbles up on themselves to prevent bombers, you know, stuff like that. But then the Imperium forces started having flycatchers just constantly bubbling the Fortizar so that the sub-capital fleets could not warp there, right?
They could have done a lot of shit way sooner, but because they, in their infinite wisdom, just, you know, put an Onyx fleet around their entire fleet, they had to wait for those onyxes to burn away because turning off a bubble in
Tie-dye? Yeah,
tie-dye,
it is.
how long does that take? I don't fly Hectors, but
It takes
doesn't that
forever.
bubble? Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that bubble up for like a while? So the thing is like this is not a new strategy from Asher to just warp to 0 and YOLO McSwag in it. He did that to us in X47 in Supers. We jumped at
Hold
0
on.
on a hostile keepstar.
No, I just gotta love Sandra's comment. It's for the Onyxes to put their bubble down. It takes about 10 faxes and a super.
That's pretty true.
So
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I saw y'all warp in, I was just like, all right, well, the Imperium's dead. They're right on an enemy Fortizar. Hang on, they're killing shit. Like, that was my immediate response. It was like, oh, okay, wow, they're warping in. They're going to be in range. Okay, well, the Paladins are going to warp back, and they're going to have carrier and, fax support, and the entire Imperium fleet's going to die. That was my initial thought. And then the Paladins never warped back.
Oh yeah, no, we fucked those up.
What, the Paladin? I mean, the Paladins, they wobbled us, so we were getting this. At least the sacks were getting shredded when we were that close to them. But
I took my flycatcher fleet directly over to their Fortizar and just camped on top of their carriers and faxes and shit. And we were actually doing pretty good at killing all the small shit that was floating away for a while until I tried to target a couple people that didn't really appreciate our existence, and then we all died.
well, that's what you're for. I find that dictors
I
are
had
just
fun.
tissue paper to be used and tossed away immediately.
Absolutely.
So it was a good fight. I will say, kind of like pace wise slowed down after most of the faxes and stuff had tethered up and everything, and we were kind of down to the subcap slugging. But at the end of the day, like, we eventually just chose when we wanted to disengage. I think they were like, okay, the fort's repaired. We've been going at it for 6.5 hours. There's no real reason to stay anymore because we're not going to get any other capital. So we disengaged, and then everybody went home. My ship is still trapped up there because I got DC'd at the end of the fight. So I have a random guardian just sitting out in space somewhere. And then so that the fight was great. Had a good time with it. I hope that we get to do more. Keep bringing your capitals. They're a lot of fun. If anyone thinks that the capitals are OP, it's really just down to numbers, not the ship, more than anything else. And then
Capitals are yummy.
They are, and after this week's announcement, they might get a slightly bit easier to build. Does anyone want to introduce the other thing that we're going to talk about today? Grandma?
Hey, take it away, Don. You're the mining expert.
Oh my god. You guys are supposed to help.
I don't know shit about mining, Don.
I mean, Don, you're doing such a great job. We didn't want to take that from you.
You're supposed to ask or say, like, yeah, I heard there's new rocks. Don, tell us about these rocks.
Hey, Dawn, I heard there was some new rocks coming to Eve. Can you tell us about their geological composition, maybe?
So there is a new ore anomaly being introduced to the game. It's going to be based off of specific suns, these special blue ones that are favored by the Triglavians. So they've kind of like drugged the Triglavian stuff into it a little bit. There are, on average, 1 to 3 of these locations in each region of Lowsec and Nullsec, and maybe Pochven, but I don't know if they're going to actually put them in there.
Yeah, who
And
knows?
basically, it's a building that's going to be like harvesting asteroids that fly too close to the sun, pull them in and break them. And the ore composition are these 4 different ores that are going to be heavy, like super concentrated in either isogen, pyrite, which is really fucking funny to say, Zydrine, and Megasite. I think those were the 4 that they were going to be focusing on. And it's basically to help the bottleneck in the production chain right now. Because I mean, they took these ores and put them in low sec and wonder why there isn't enough in the game right now.
Yeah. Don, what does this mean with the isogen bottleneck?
I mean, with the amount so preliminary scans that I've gotten from it, the rocks are going to be up to 3 times as potent as an ochre, like an isogen rock, whichever one it's called, is going to be 3 times more potent than an ochre rock of the same size. But the sites are incredibly small. Like they have a lot of very teeny tiny rocks. I sent the list to you of
Mm-hmm.
the D scan that someone was able to take. Now some of the rocks have been chewed on, so it may not be perfect.
And
But
thank you to
basically,
Jazz for those numbers.
the rocks average at 6 to 7. Wait, what was it? 6 to 8,000 M3.
Yeah.
Let me look at it again.
I will pull it up here.
Yes.
Give me one
They're-
second.
Almost all these high value rocks are only the size of 2 to 3 cycles, or like Hulk cycles. So basically what's going to happen is the barges are going to go in, eat it up in 5 minutes, and then leave. So how much impact these sites will have, I feel like will be relatively low unless they respawn like crazy. So the respawn rate is going to be the biggest key. I'm so glad there's nothing else that you done in our Discord that you could show it.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't need to see people's faces.
They'll be covered for a short period of time while we.
So that's to give you guys an idea of what it looks like. The rocks seem to be relatively like spaced out wise close together. So I don't think you're gonna have to do like what you do in some places where you gotta warp or boat 100 kilometers in one direction or the other.
Yeah, it's literally probably sit on 0 and mine the whole thing out.
And move a little bit, because some of them are like 50 out, so you might have to move a little bit for that.
Wait, what?
But,
They don't have boosts?
well, I mean, if you bring a Rorqual, apparently they are trying to design the site with not wanting to allow Rorquals to use it, and by making
okay,
it
there's
unfun
orcs
for
and
Rorquals.
There's other ships to make it work.
If you use an Orca in nullsec, there's something very wrong going on.
Well, I mean, I live in subcap paradise, so I don't know what these Rorquals are.
If you come to Delve, I'll show you what a Rorqual looks like.
I have gone to Delve before, and I had to run away when like a 400-man fleet was sitting on a gate.
And our field tester says that he was able to fit a Rorqual in the center without bumping. So I think that's going to be the play, is just put a Rorqual in the center and just have your little fleet mine it out. But I think if rocks stay this size, you're going to see interest in it go down greatly, because there's going to be too many people doing it that it's not profitable. And so it'll go down to about 5 people doing it. And so you've spent a lot of time creating content that potentially 5 people per region are going to get to enjoy, like actually enjoy. So we'll see. I hope they make the rocks bigger.
The last time I went to Delve, I was there for a year, and at the end I lost a war, so no thanks.
You had a great time though.
I mean, yeah, it was fun, especially trolling Redline.
Speaking of Redline, I murdered him in Pittsburgh the other day on a fleet.
Nice.
I killed Pittsburgh's 3.5 billion ISK abyssal fit pilgrim with 10 cormorants.
I want to know what Pittsburgh does to get his money.
And I got
factions capitals a lot.
I got so much fucking salt from that man for killing his pilgrim with fucking cormorants. It was absolutely hilarious.
John, Pittsburgh probably does some of the things that we talked about on yesterday's stream to get money.
Oh, sucking dick?
Credit card warrior?
No, he's probably a credit card warrior. No, I don't know. I think Pittsburgh builds, or not builds, but I think he mines, but I'm not sure. I know what he does do the Sotillo hunting. to sell the blueprints. So he might. I know he did that. At least when he was in Goons, he did. There is a worry that the rocks in this new mining system are not going to be compressible. I think they're just going to fall under the asteroid category. Since they're
Yeah, I imagine
an
so.
asteroid, but who knows?
I don't think they're gonna fuck around with that shit. Mainly because Pochven mining was such a contentious thing with how awful it was with their sizes if you didn't compress. And allowing them to be compressed with the new compression modules, I think you'll be able to compress them. I don't see them getting away from not having something compressible.
Can we talk a little bit about Pochven mining? Because I'm not gonna lie,
No.
was it Dawn and Sabat were having a pretty interesting argument last night off the air. Apparently, Dawn was very pissed because all the sites were in Kybernaut space, and she wanted them over in her space.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no ore in Pochven.
Yeah, Pochven mining sucks. Don't mine there. It's a waste of your time.
I will bring up the video.
There is no ore in bossing, say.
Exactly.
All right, so with that, should we just delete Pochven then? Because I personally think we
Please.
should just delete Pochven.
Yes, just fucking get rid of it. The expansion's over. Event time's over. CCP Fozzie, get rid of it.
That and Delve.
It's not
okay,
even
so-
hurting you.
So I need to talk to CCP Fozzie and be like, or whoever from CCP and be like, 1DQ needs to be pulled into Pochven.
Oh my god! Could you imagine if
Look,
that ended up
look.
happening?
I want you to look how well it worked when Pappy tried to bitch to CCP about the Fortizar. All right, in 1DQ, and look at how well that conversation went.
Could you imagine if 1DQ got pulled into a wormhole? Do you know how much money is in the 2 keep stars?
We
That
would be set
be-
for life in Pochven if 1DQ went to Pochven.
Yeah.
Not even that. I'm just thinking of like the amount of ships like that are
Hold on.
just stuck in because of people that like have quit or aren't playing anymore or whatever. Like just the sheer volume of stuff in those keep stars is
The thing,
oh.
the thing
Yeah,
is
we
the
wouldn't have
keep-
to import.
Yeah, the thing is a keep star would be like nigh impossible to kill in Pochven.
That's not true.
Oh, trust me, I've had the wet dream of like a keep star on like a home system gate grid, and just be like, oh, let me just DD the shit out of fleets that come through.
You wouldn't do anything because the DD doesn't work on subcaps.
That's true.
Unless you bounce it. So unless you've got a capital you're willing to use as like the primer, it's
Why not?
useless. They took
It
that
sounds-
away.
Let alone that you cannot place a keep star to where the DD would be in range of a gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other
I know.
kicker.
I can just allow
I know
me
you
my
can
like,
dream. You
little
can have a
secret wet
dream.
dream.
Yeah.
No,
You can have-
see the dream. I think the dream for everybody would be to get Horde's fucking Fortizar out of Pochven. Kill that thing. I heard their
No, I'm
Sig
okay with that
died.
being there.
No. I heard their Sig died. Is that true? Can we get some
No.
insight into that?
Um,
I've
it
heard P
pretty much
Hordes.
died.
Oh, yeah.
What
They're
happened?
dead.
Drama.
Drama.
So the guys that basically were keeping it up and running all made their own corp and stayed in Pochven and left Horde.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Alright,
it's
what
pretty
are you
much dead.
doing, Twister?
Apparently
muting my
there's incursion drama now with TDF. High second. Yeah, high sec incursion drama is happening, and some of the high secers are like screaming about it on Reddit, and I'm like, ha! These kids definitely weren't around for Joe Barbarian.
Wait, what's high sec?
This is other silly place. Warping around in there is so nerve-wracking as a goon because you're so used to not blue shoot it. So when you're in there, you're like, oh my god, there's 30 neutrals here. Then you're like, oh, it's a 0.7. I'll be fine. Then the police try to shoot you anyways.
I just use high sec is just that like weird space that has local chat that I use to get through to go through a wormhole. It's a weird place. I don't get it.
High-sec local chat, like, I feel like high-sec local, like, as the member list should still be there, but get rid of the local chatter in
Listen,
in
I
high-sec.
love local chatter. I make so many friends.
I miss the good local chatter in high sec. Like, go back to like 2010 when it was actually funny.
and not hypernet links out the ass.
Yeah.
That's Ingita.
No, that's all of high-sec.
Go back to the in-game
true.
browser.
Chatting with people in high sec is like chatting with people in the elevator. You don't want to talk to them, but you have nothing better to do.
That's kind of true, except for like if I have a golem in high sec that I use sometimes for money, and whenever I'm in my golem, if I see anybody else in a golem, I'm like, hey, sick golem, check out this skin. Trying to get them to talk. None of them ever want to talk. They have no personality. The only people that will talk to you are the gankers and the miners. That's it.
Oh yeah, some
The
newbie.
mission guys, they have no time.
Some newbie was talking about something on Reddit where he went into low sec and he was trying to mine in a procure, and he got dropped on by an Aeon. And he's like brand new to Eve, and he puts in the Reddit post, he's like, is this normal? Getting dropped on by a capital ship? Is this what people do with their lives? And we're just like, yeah, pretty much. And he's like, yeah, they were talking to me about some mining permit thing. And we're like, yep, cough up the money, pal.
Wait, they dropped an Aeon in lowsec?
They dropped an Aeon on a newbie miner in his first trip to lowsec. And when they dropped on him, they said, give us money for your mining permit. And the fighters just fucking nuke him like 0.5 seconds later. It's absolutely hilarious.
I mean, to be fair, that sounds pretty dope. It's just like, so what was your first day? And he's like, well, I went to lowsec and I got dropped on by a super capital.
Yeah, right? Except I guarantee you that story is never going to be told because that newbie will probably quit in about 2 weeks.
I mean, you already told it.
That's fair.
Okay, side story or side tangent. What is the first either big kill or capital kill that you guys can remember being a part of? I know mine, so.
I remember my first capital kill. I was in Provi Block, and back in those days in 2016 Provi Block, due to the rules of allowing neutrals to move throughout Provi, the one thing we couldn't do is use our capital ships. If somebody in Provi Block undocked their capital ship, you got commissaried, unless you got prior approval. So there was a guy in Provi Block. He was in Apocalypse Now, my alliance at the time, and he was using his Oracle without authorization. So a sub-capital fleet was pinged. I was in my Executioner. It was day number 3 of me being in the game, and I killed that capital. And now my light is dead, so I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah.
Killing a snuffed out Revelation?
Is that the first one or just like the most memorable you can think of?
First one. You should remember when I was like hanging out like in lowsec and nullsec like ages and ages ago, there wasn't like a capital proliferation going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to we had some friends and dock workers and went out in Kiki's and fucked shit up in Kiki's.
There wouldn't be Kiki's then.
No, this is last year.
That was your first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never really went after
How long have you
capitals.
been playing without playing okay.
I'd never been interested in the capital warfare game. Like Pochven being created was like the best thing ever. It was like sweet. There's no caps.
So my first capital kill was a double whammy. I was in Spectre Fleet, going out on a little roam with them, and they're like, "Oh, look what we found! They found an apostle and an archon." And we shot those things for like 50 minutes. I died twice because I was just in a little frigate. Didn't understand what smart bombs were. I was like 4 or 5 weeks into the game, maybe at that point. And I remember it just took forever, but I was just saw these big ships and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I didn't fully understand what like a capital was or anything. And it was in Pravi, in a Providence area. So I don't remember who it was. Actually, I'd have to go look. But I was very excited by that. And that was my first capital kill, and I got a taste for blood. Karama, Ghoster, do you remember your first capital?
So I think my first capital, or like my first big capital, was a Titan that I killed during GM week. I think it was a Frat Titan. Yeah, Frat Avatar.
I killed a Thanatos out in Curse. That was my first kill, or first cap kill. That was back in like 2008.
Mine was in 16, I believe. And I'm gonna find it. I remember my first real big loss was my Nightmare. I was very proud of that thing. Got killed by war targets. Fuck war. I am so happy they changed the war mechanics way back when, because that shit was fucking up the game so bad. And half my corp would never play whenever we were at war, which was like 3 weeks out of a month. Because some giant cocksuckers are like, we just want to kill you in a Mar. Like, this is stupid. There's nothing like this is stupid mechanic. You couldn't really fight back ever unless you just happen to know they were coming. So
I still remember way back then in 2016, learning about capital warfare and everything like that. And my first loss was a Thanatos that was gifted to me by somebody. And we went out there, had no idea how fighter mechanics worked. We went out there and we were killing an incursion fleet in a catch. And I ended up losing my Thanatos.
So, let's see. So we've talked about the big fight. We talked about the new ore. I think the next thing coming up is the faction warfare changes for adding everybody to them.
Yeah,
CCP predicted early 2023. So that means fall of 2023, right?
Fall of 2024. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. They just wrote the wrong date in there. Are people do you think people are going to engage in that en masse once that comes out?
So from what I can tell, what Test is doing right now is a really, really good test to see how the big blocks are going to operate within factional warfare. And we don't know the specifics of the mechanic yet, so we can only speculate with what we have, which is the current mechanics. And for those who don't know, Test decided to fully move into faction warfare to rebuild themselves. They lost all of their sovereignty in NullSec. And within the first week of being within faction warfare, they got an automated mail from Concord that the majority of Test members actually have negative standing towards Caldari, even though as an alliance they flagged for Caldari. So, under the current mechanics, Test has roughly, I think it's 14 days to fix all of those character standings, or they get kicked out of the Caldari militia. So, I feel like that sets a pretty good precedent of the fact that alliances are going to have to coordinate and basically poll their members to say, hey, you know, we're thinking about going with Amar, who has negative standings with Amar, and then that's got to be counted in the alliance budget, if it's even possible to put that in something like an alliance budget to fix everybody's standings. Are they going to want to? I personally think that an alliance as a whole is not going to flag for factional warfare. I don't think you're going to see the entirety of Goons or the entirety of Pandemic Horde or anybody. I don't think you're going to see that many players flagging for faction warfare in a large group. what I do think you're going to see is that I think you're going to see SIGs and squads go out there and do their thing. You're going to see individuals going out there for LP farming and making that good profitability money without having to use some random fucking neutral alt character, right? That's most likely what we are going to see come out of that patch.
All right, from a smaller alliance standpoint, I don't think anyone's gonna do anything like that. I don't think anyone's gonna dedicate to one. I mean, I've always been talking about joining Caldari just to kill my alliance leader. So, I think there's on the smaller corps and alliance standings, like everyone's just gonna look at what standings they have and what they're willing to sacrifice and pick and choose or do whatever they like or whatever flavor they like. I know you big boys, yeah, you guys will probably make your SIGs and shit, but on the smaller side, I think it's just gonna be a free for all of what kind of ships people want or like to fly, and they'll fly it a little bit differently.
Sabat, you're also a triangle, and triangles do things backwards.
Hey, I mean, we do things the right way.
I think
No local,
I think one of the interesting things is that even right now, with the current factional warfare changes, we're starting to see a lot of the low sec groups come in there and really small show those militias who's boss. I believe it was snuffed out. There was a battlefield that spawned for the Galente versus Caldari side of factional warfare, and I think it was for 6 hours. Snuffed out just had a rolling fleet of like 80 dudes that just sat in the middle of the battlefield with long range battleships and cruisers with 1,000,001 target painters and just fucking decimated the whole thing. And even like they didn't care. Nobody in Snuffed Out was actually flagged for factional warfare. They just went there because, it's free fucking kills, right? So it's weird to see how the factional warfare groups, and I feel like once that change does take effect and you see the SIGs and squads get in there and you see individuals getting in there, I feel like you're going to see the militias change a lot, because it's going to get to a point where in present day factional warfare, if you log into a factional warfare character, you're just going to be like, hey, what's up in the militia chat? What's everyone up to? Where's everyone going? And then, you get in a small group of 3 to 5 dudes and you just go at it. And if you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. But now you're going to start to see sort of not necessarily hundreds of people fleet wise. You're going to start to see that 40-50 man small gang comp.
it's no longer small gang.
Small gang from my perspective. Okay, 40 to 50 is small to me. It's a big to you, right? But you're going to see 40 to 50 gangs start messing around with factional warfare. And just that small organizational thing is going to have to start taking precedent over it for the people that have been playing factional warfare for years, right? You're going to see the factional warfare corps. They're going to want to start getting together and making an alliance out of themselves. They're going to want to start organizing instead of throwing, your random Imperial Navy Slacer and Algos gang. You're going to want to start having a fleet comp with logistics, with your snowflake ships, right? They're going to have to do that. Otherwise, the dedicated factional warfare militias just aren't going to survive the new changing meta of factional warfare.
I agree with you on that point. I mean, I just have been doing plexes, so I've just been dealing with fucking trolls. I actually was live streaming one night and a troll had me pointed in a slasher and I couldn't get close enough. I couldn't slingshot him to get away. So I literally just switched my stream over to playing Crusader Kings 3 and said, you can waste your time. And 2 hours later, I came back and he finally gave up, like 5 minutes later. Like, I'm just wasting your fucking time. I could play another game. I'm fine with that.
Because he wasn't shooting you either, was he?
Yeah, because if he got close, he was going to die. So I literally was like, all right, I'll just burn away in a straight line. I don't give a shit. I'll just
I
play
remember I
another
told
game.
you, I was like, just don't do something else. He's not gonna give up.
Yeah.
Did you just have it off to the side and just let yourself burn?
I just started burning in a straight line. I was like, I don't really give a shit. And I was like, oh, I'll just play Crusader Kings 3 and switch my stream over to that. Like, fuck this shit. I'm tired of this. But yeah, I mean, for Plexes, it's a hodgepodge. Sometimes you get good fights. Sometimes you get bullshit trolls who are just trying to be a pain in the ass and annoy the fuck out of you, telling you like, just eject from your ship and warp off in your pod so I can kill your ship. And it's like, fuck you, dude.
See, I feel like that's where a lot of the solo people are gonna come in with factional warfare. You're gonna see couple of people like that, but I feel like honestly the majority is, you know, give it a year. Give it a year for the factional warfare meta to really shape itself, and
It
you're
will.
Here.
and you're gonna
It
see
won't even be a year.
maybe 6 months. I give it a year to perfect that meta, but
the militia chatter, like actually chatting in the militia chat when you're actually doing faction warfare shit. Like, I had a couple guys come out and try to help peel the dude off me, but I was already burned so fucking far away. They're like, yeah, never mind, don't worry about
dude,
it. I told them don't worry about it, but they're actually responsive. Like, I formed random impromptu groups just by chatting in the militia chat.
oh no, exactly, and that's the way it works right now, and it's beautiful in the current state of factional warfare. It is beautiful with the fact that it's just, hey, how you doing, guy? Are you also flexing in this area? Cool, I'm gonna come join you, and then, you know, you do whatever. But once people start forming these groups, that's just not gonna cut it, right? And I'm sure you've hung out in factional warfare. The amount of bullshit chatter that goes on in that militia chat. Right, like it's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to organize a group here, and then some random dude starts coming in talking about what pizza he wants to order, and it's like, dude, as much as I love the you know, shooting the shit, Calderi's currently beating our ass in Old Man Star.
Yeah.
That's what we gotta get those guys back on soon, Mifune, to ask like how they've found, like, how quickly do systems flip, how, like, what's, like, is everybody kind of dogpiling into like two different corporations, or kind of how things are shaken up. So we're getting close to when we need to do that, because those guys were a lot of fun, and I do want to know kind of how things are working out so far. I mean, what have you guys seen so far with the faction warfare stuff? Like, is it a lot of just like a ton of Keldari bitches? Is it a bunch of Galente whores? Like, what are we seeing?
I'm in Mimitar space, so
What we're, as far as the Galente Calderi side of things go, so far from what I've seen is that both Galente and Calderi has so many goddamn role players, right? But that's all they do. Like, I literally had a guy that was like, I was talking to him in the militia chat like a week ago, and, you know, he's talking all this stuff about the Jovian Empire. I'm like, dude, that's like, you know, like, I was never one to get into EVE Online lore, but that's really cool, you know, thank you for sharing. And then I moved the topic over to what ship I was flying, the fitting and everything, and he goes, wait, why would you put that prop mod with that ship? And I'm like, so I could kite. And the guy's like, what's kiting? I'm like, okay, great. Like, so what you guys really do with your time is you sit in your citadels and shoot the ship. And nothing else, right? And it's like, well, the factional warfare fights are kicking up. Like, there are some pretty damn good fights in factional warfare right now, but it is just all kitchen sink. I could roll into faction warfare space with something as dead simple as a fucking Harbinger fleet with 4 Logi dudes and like 30 dudes in fleet, and I would dominate that entire battlefield for the next like 6 days straight. Right? Just because they're so unorganized, they don't know how to organize and group up in the slightest, and it's something that they gotta learn or they're not gonna live.
I mean, Ghost Rider knows how to group up with random puppies in Pochven, so
Oh yeah,
I
you kill
mean,
them and then they come
if-
back and ask to play with you.
yeah, I mean, if you can do that, I mean, why can't the faction warfare players do it?
I mean, I believe that they can. I just don't think they've like. I hate to say it. I don't think they've gotten it through their skulls that that's what needs to happen.
I don't think the old school faction warfare players realize that it's changing. It has changed. They need to wake up. It's no longer wait, 6 months and you can flip all the systems again. I don't think they get it. There are some groups that, yes, they're dirty role players and they kind of get annoying, but they do faction warfare hard.
That's like the Amar or the
Illumin and EM fighting each other, like they're annoying role players.
Sixth Empire.
But they fight hard.
No, they really do. And that's the thing. They fight so goddamn hard. If they just had that little bit of organization thrown into the mix, and they could dominate their own space. They could break all of the new groups. Hell, they could get a leg up. That's why CCP isn't letting us join faction warfare yet, because they want the small groups to have a chance to get that leg up, and they're not taking that opportunity.
It's not really that. It's the issue of people being in alliances and corps on opposite sides is the big issue. It's so you don't blue fuck yourself. I mean, if say Dawn suddenly starts playing Amar and Ghoster goes to Mimitar, it's so you're not killing your own in faction warfare. They have that's
that
the
would
issue.
be. I would accept the fact that I feel like if you're joining faction warfare, you should know that you're going to end up probably fighting some of your blue friends.
But I think they want to make sure it doesn't happen as frequently as it would if they allowed us right now.
I mean, that is a thing that is in the sandbox and not controlled by CCP, right? Because that's what's going to happen anyway. They could have dropped it along with the expansion, and then groups like Goons, for example, we would have chosen our faction months before the expansion comes out.
What is this? Everyone wants to shoot me. Listen, just because Amar is the superior empire is not my fault.
Amar is definitely the master race.
Hell yeah.
Triglavians are the master race. I'm sorry.
Galente is the master race here, so.
See, these kind of statements is why Pappy invaded.
Wait, I thought Pappy invaded because some dude got fired from his job and then didn't get it back when he returned.
No, we don't talk about that.
Oh, I do agree. Pirate life, whatchamacallit, Blood Raiders are the master race. Sorry. I correct myself.
Reading the lore about all the pirate groups is more interesting than actually shooting them. Because, like, the Blood Raider ones is, like, they paint the ships with the blood of their slaves. And to think about, like, how much blood it would take to do that, unless you've got, like, a constant, like, siphoning station. Ooh, Benelli.
Nah,
people.
I swear, I wish I could remember the name, and I'm not sure if anybody remembers back in, like, 2018, there was a Russian female streamer that would roleplay on stream as a combination between a Sith Lord and a Blood Raider. And it was absolutely hilarious. Like, I barely understood Russian, but you could get the idea from her stream, and it was just so glorious. She was in inner hell, and she would stream them dropping in their wormholes. Olga, was that her name? I can't remember.
Greg doesn't even remember what he had for breakfast.
I can't remember, but like it was just really cool watching her stream because she had like a lightsaber attached to her chair and she would paint herself with the Blood Raider cosmetics in the game. Like she was really cool. But yeah.
Listen, Greg, if you were here, you could fight back, but you're not, so enjoy the puppy.
Well, before we get to final thoughts, because we are approaching the hour of our show, I wanted to share something with our audience. So
You're pregnant.
no.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Is it triplets?
So a very, very good friend of mine, who used to play EVE Online. He lives in my state of North Carolina. I talked about it once before. This upcoming weekend is having his grand opening for North Carolina's first ever esports bar. It's great. I went there for the soft opening. It was great. And he was actually featured on the local news station, and I wanted to share the clip from that with everybody on stream here, just to show you guys how cool it is.
Cities and colleges,
All right, I just want to point out real quick, and I've got some expertise in this. North Carolina is not a state. It was actually something invented by Tim Sweeney so that Epic Games could write its own tax codes.
Anyway,
and it has become the inspiration for a first of its kind bar in downtown Durham.
Muted, buddy.
By all means, this looks like your typical bar, from the drinks to the menus to the big TVs. However, Glenn Swan, the owner here at Bad Machines in downtown Durham, says there's a big, unique difference.
We are electronic sports, and no one's doing that right now, especially in sporting. You know, we have sports bars all around, so, you know, we're different, unique, because we're covering electronic sports like Fortnite.
He doesn't look like he has very good depth
Instead
perception,
of your
that's for
typical
sure.
basketball or football games playing on the TV screens, folks who come out watch video gamers compete against each other. This week, Swan opened Bad Machines Esports Bar. He says it's the first esports bar in the state.
You know, we want to cultivate more of an esports lounge area where those who are both fans of esports and those who actually compete, maybe even professionally or locally, they can have a place where they could come out, hang out.
Esports is already growing in popularity, especially in the Triangle. In September, we reported the town of Mooresville and Wake Tech partnered together to create a program dedicated to it. Goldman Sachs estimates the esports industry will generate $3 billion in revenue this year.
You know, it's pretty much the new wave of sporting for younger kids, right? And a lot of it's, you know, very competitive.
I don't know what that
thinking,
guy's
a lot
workout
of
regimen
teamwork.
is.
A lot of colleges, NC State, UNC, you see all of them are starting to invest in it, right? And it's, you know, opening up a whole new area of, like, you know, careers.
Just a cool bar. Well, Swan says they are planning to do shows and bring in professional gamers so fans can see them up close. He also told us they're open to feedback so they can help continue to grow the esports community.
So I just wanted to share that because it's really cool.
The massive fire that destroyed the QVC warehouse.
Sorry, other news clips played. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really excited for him, and in fact, this week he's building the stage to show off a couple of shows. And as the bar grows, we might even hold our own local version of Alliance tournament for all the dudes that play EVE in the area.
Now, question is Sabat's thinking it's gonna be a sausage fest. I feel like you either like make ladies' drinks cheaper or lean into it and just make it a esports gay bar.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I go to the bar for other reasons.
What the fuck,
I mean,
Don?
I think I think that the idea behind it is awesome. I just know too many basement dwelling nerds, and have seen signs at my local gaming stores that have gone viral about how people need to take a goddamn shower. That's the only thing I'd get nervous about.
You know,
What's a shower?
you could probably hold some tournaments in there pretty easily too if it's got the space. So, or do board. I mean, board gamers would love to be able to go somewhere and get.
Well,
food and play board
there's actually another bar around here. I love it. It's called Gamers Geekery in Cary, and they actually have an entire board game thing. They're D&D focused. Their bartenders on their breaks can offer themselves up as a
As what?
they can offer
Tribute?
themselves up as tribute to be a DM in somebody's D&D game.
Oh, that's where we're going with that because I did not think that offering themselves up was gonna go that direction.
Okay, Don, you gotta take your mind out of the horny.
But I'm not myself.
Funny thing is about like bars like that, like that's been like the craft breweries in the Murder Mitten for like the past like I don't know 10 years. You've been able to do like tabletop gaming and stuff at the bar, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah. Well, like, so we had one place around near me, but it was before the pandemic, so I don't know if they made it. It was called Dragons and Donuts, and it was a board game place, but they made donuts and coffee. But I was like, where's the alcohol? Where's any like what's the point of having a bunch of people come in here to play games if you're not serving them copious amounts of craft beer?
Yeah.
Wasted my time.
The tap room I normally go to all the time literally actually has a supply of games that you can just grab there, and you can bring your own if you want to.
So say hello to Dominark. He's here to give his final thoughts for the week.
Hi, Dominark.
Greetings! I made it just in time, right?
Just in time to say goodbye.
Lost track of time. See, it doesn't. Not only you. It's everyone I do it to.
It's okay. We were able to enjoy ourselves, but we are at the end of the show because I have people waiting on me. So, let's start at the top and work our way down. Ghoster.
Yes, my final thoughts for the week are, Pochven's one hell of a good time if you like PvP. It's been really consistent, really fun. There's decent ISK to be made out there. Outside of that, if you want 3D ship models, CCP is selling them in conjunction with somebody who makes them, and they are stopping doing that December 31st of this year. So
Yes.
if you want some, it's on the launcher. Buy them. I just bought like 7 of them. So
those are so ironic. Side note about those. Those are the original 3D modeling company that partnered with CCP way back when. Right? They have the original Rifter model that all the OG EVE players have, and this is the last fucking chance for anybody to buy one because that company is no longer going to be making EVE ships. They're shifting to a new business model, although that business model none of us like. It's horrible. But they're moving away from EVE. They're not doing EVE things anymore. So,
yeah, go buy your ships.
It's a sad time. I bought myself a Rifter.
All right, Sabat. Any final thoughts?
I'm happy Ghoster joined the Pochven loving crew with Dawn.
Thank
we
you.
just got to work on Mifune. Karuma will never join. I don't know about you, Dominark.
Furries and a Pochven. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I've been accused of things that aren't true. I'd like to invoke the right of the kangaroo court.
We only recognize Space Court. I can recommend you to a good
Texas
lawyer.
law.
His name Jeremy Andadari.
No, if I would never subject you to that person being your lawyer. He would.
But it would be
himself in
funny.
jail, so it would be really bad. I believe Diogenes is the best Space Court lawyer in Goons. I can offer him out. Go ahead.
My final notes are: I think this weekend might possibly be my last show talking about stuff in Pochven for the year with the holidays coming up. So if you want to tune in on Sunday.
Nice. Yep. Definitely go check out the Triglavian Times. They have less standards than us, so it's always good. Except for they do
More
dress better than we
standards.
do. They do dress.
Well, I'm normally
much
the only one on
much
camera,
better.
so.
So, Dominic, final thoughts, shout outs / first things this week.
You know what? I've got about 45 minutes of stuff. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
First off, I'm going to thank Ghoster for inviting me to Pochven for my very first time. I had a blast. Thank you very much. I will be back.
Fuck yeah.
I'll do that again. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me to that. There was more things I was going to say. Now I'm drawing a blank because I do fucking draw.
Swag. Swag.
Oh, swag. There you go. Yeah. On those models that Ghoster was talking about, they kick ass. I have the Stratios and the Oracle, and they're both very cool. So one thing, if you don't own them, they're not toys. They are very, very delicate. My Oracle literally fell over on the little stand, and it broke. So, I mean, just sitting there. They're pretty delicate, but they're very, very cool. I do suggest buying them. Unfortunately, the coolest one on there is Dramule, and it's $100. That sucks. Then I'd like to say thank you to Grandma inviting me on. I had a great time last night with Don and Sabbath and everybody. We had a good time. That was fun. And then don't forget open comms tomorrow night. Mifune, you are invited. I know you won't show up, but that's okay.
Look, I tried to show up last week, and nobody. I tried to show up last week, and nobody fucking responded to my DMs to drag me into the channel for like 45 fucking minutes. No, you weren't.
You gotta work on that.
Was I there?
No, you weren't.
That's 2 weeks ago then, not last week.
Possibly.
2 weeks ago, yeah, because I went to a meetup with Rain and a couple other people. Yeah. So come this week, I'll be there. I'll probably be drunk, but yeah, that's okay.
As we all will.
Exactly. That's all I got. Everybody have fun.
All right, Karama, final thoughts, shout-outs for the week.
If you've got nothing better to do and nothing else is on, consider visiting me over at twitch.tv/KaramaXNE.
Yep, and you have a show on there called Warp Out Wednesdays, which I ping out occasionally.
Yep.
Only when I'm on it, because that's the only time I care.
Fair enough.
Definitely check him out. Karama has good guests on, and they have a good time over there.
Do you stream often? I guess I'm asking. I don't know.
Sometimes.
You do other stuff besides just the show, too.
Mainly like faction warfare or sometimes VR chat, but I haven't really done VR chat much because, two communities that are very different should not mix.
What's
I don't
VR?
know. Even VR would be pretty cool.
We could walk in stations. That'd be awesome.
All right, Mifune?
All right, well, I think this week was very eventful for Eve. I hope that the events continue. I hope content gets generated, that things happen. Give everybody a nice little reason to log in and have some nice little combat fun. As Ghoster said, go buy your fucking ship models, because guess what? When they're gone, you're going to regret that you didn't have one. And in 10 years, when somebody's posting on the Reddit that the game is dead, and you can say, I was there. So get yours while you can.
And for my last stuff this week, I thank all of our guests for showing up and hanging out with us today. Always appreciated. We will be streaming this month more. It may be hit or miss just depending upon holiday stuff. So if you miss a week, don't feel bad about it. We probably did too. And then we will try to keep an eye out for any big fights going on so we can do our breaking news, just like as always. I hope everyone has a great week, and I will be gone this week. So
yeah. All right.
Oh, and yes, Pochven mining's terrible. Don't go there.
She's lying.
All right. Well, that's our show, everybody. I hope y'all had a fun time.
All right. Thanks for coming.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.